Mic check. Mic check. I shouldn't have been muted. I don't know why that happened. You know what? Hold on a second. I think maybe the microphone just dropped away from my mouth or something like that. Sorry. You should hear me now, right? It says I'm muted? I got a signal that how could I possibly be muted right now? Tunnel sound. Fuck. Hang on. Okay. Alright, there we go. The tunnel sound came up because I was trying to fix what wasn't broken a second ago. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, Robert Phoenix. We'll be talking about that. I have to be more coordinated with him. I don't talk to Robert as much as I talk to Gabe. And I haven't talked to Gabe too much about this in particular because we also had a few other things to talk about, and both of us had a lot to say. So, as you can imagine, conversations with me and Gabe go on as we're sitting there enhancing each other's gravy pools. So at any rate, here we are, 9 Doors of Midgard. We're about to hit the 4th door. So I'm very excited for that. So I'm Zerilath Eternal. This is the Zerilath Immortal channel, soon to be the Zerilath Eternal channel. I am gonna hopefully be doing a lot of collaborative works here, right? Right now. I've just been inspired to ask a few people, and honestly, I'm hoping, I already feel like I've overwhelmed myself, because I also am kind of working nearly full-time at this moment. Last month would have been the perfect month to do this, to be honest. But even I had other things I needed to reset myself with, and it's a deep, what's coming out of my state of mind kind of thing. Oh, and by the way, the only reason why I am wearing a shirt right now is because of swag. Hold on. So last night I was in Brooklyn. I went to go see Tyr. And with Tyr opened up a band called Aether Realm. Aether Realm is a newer band to me. They've been around for over a decade now. But I just caught on to who they are, so on and so forth. I was so impressed with their sound that when I got there, I picked up the fucking album that they just reissued for vinyl, which is called Tarot. This fucking album is sick. These boys are from North Carolina, and the singer, I think his name is Vinny, and I think Heinrich, pretty sure it was Heinrich, was the guitarist. He's like the lead guitarist, right? So those two guys, they autographed it for me. I had a little chit chat with them because they every song on there has something to do with the tarot cards. So I talked to him a little bit about that, and I think I mentioned my channel, but just to make life easy, and because I really just wanted him to think about tarot stuff, I told him about the Greyhorn Pagans. So I've hopefully shuffled him over to check out Stein and everything that he do. I didn't spend too much time chit-chatting with them. You know, they're rising rock stars, and they, I'm sure there's somebody with tits they'd rather be talking to. So I didn't go too much into it, but I did talk about Black Earth Productions in the Temple, because I chose to sport the hoodie for the whole show, because I hadn't had I think that was my first show showing the hoodie, right? So like I didn't want to. I wanted to give it maximum exposure. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't even like mosh too hard at this show because I wanted to not deal with coat check at all. I didn't want to ask coat check if they were going to charge me again because they already had to charge me for two things: one to hold my merch and the other to hold my coat. Oh my god, it was such an expensive show, right? I do not go to those shows too often. Um, you know, anyway. So that shit was cool. I met the bassist of Tyr, and I got a picture with him, and I just thanked him for the many years of bringing heathenry out there to the world, right, through the music. Cool. Here we are. We are at it. So that's what happened to me a decade ago when I saw Blind Guardian in concert, and the opening band was Seven Kingdoms, and this short lady belted out some insane vocals. Okay, cool. You know what? I don't even think I know who Seven Kingdoms is yet. I'll need to get schooled on it. All right. The fourth door of Midgard. Opening. With the completion of the fourth door, the runer will have completed the great work of preparation for full initiation into the runes. By the end of this door, the meditative work will be finished, and more concentration will be placed in future doors on working with the runes as you have been able to internalize them. Of course, the process of absorbing and learning the runes is and should remain a never-ending one. You should return regularly to basic rune thinking in order to reload your battery, so to speak. Quantitative as well as qualitative benefits are to be derived from such review practice. But it is also true that such a review will be an ongoing process in the rune work ahead. Okay, power metal from Florida. See, that's the problem. They're power metal from Florida. Power metal doesn't come from Florida. Death metal comes from Florida. That's what comes from Florida, right? You don't start a metal band in Florida and it's not a death metal band. You're just doomed for failure. Okay. Enough with my really, really deep, you don't know the metal scene metal humor. Anyway, well, Saniko knows the metal. I mean, well, a lot of you guys know the metal. I inundate you. You end up knowing something about the metal scene because you listen to me. It's an important subculture to understand for reasons I'm not going to explain to you. Reading. Suggested readings for the fourth door. Myths and Symbols of Pagan Europe by H.R. Ellis Davidson. Iga's Saga by Snorri Sturluson. In Search of the Indo-Europeans, J.P. Mallory. A History of... hold on a second. History of Vilings. That's a smudge? Does that smudge show up on your screen? Yeah, it does. All right. So that's a smudge on the PDF there. So I don't know if that's an E. I can't tell what that is. Oh, wait. Oh, is that Vikings. Vikings. The History of the Vikings. Gwen Jones. I don't know why I thought Vilings instead of Vikings first. I guess I wanted it to be an E in my head because, Viking this and Viking that when I'm trying to get pre-Viking, but that's not what this is about. But anyway, and sometimes you gotta deal with the names you're dealing with. No, it's fine. It's weird. The Birth of the Middle Ages, 395 to 814, L.B. Moss. The Germanization of Early Medieval Christianity, James Russell. My mind is always thinking in terms of the original, so I just made all those weird statements about the word Viking just because I'm such an ideologue. Don't mind me, I'm being my own little tyrant. Workings. Here you are to continue with the regular discipline of the daily work and continue to develop the U work. However, you should also now institute a special Stedha working just before beginning the U work. This Stedha working will prepare you quite well for the more complex Stedha experiments in the tradition of the 20th century rune magician Frederick Bernhard Marby, Siegfried Adolf Kummer, and Karl Spesberger, which will follow in coming doors. The magical technique is also covered in detail in my book Rune Might. Loading Stedha work. This is designed to bring the runer into a relaxed and balanced state, fully loaded with potential expressions of rune might. This sequence is used by the German magicians as a formula of engagement. Facing north with a regular breathing pattern, perform the 3 rune Stother, Isa, Uruz, Alhej. I think that's Alhej. I'm assuming Elder Futhark unless I see otherwise. While singing the rune names of each in sequence, you may repeat the sequence several times. Especially in the beginning. Bring as much of the rune meanings into your consciousness as possible while performing the Stedha. You know, I always like to operate in patterns of 3 to 9, right? 6 maybe, but, you know, often I feel better with 3 or 9. 6 works if there's like 3 ain't enough, and you're trying to even out something by doing it thrice on each side. It's Anglo-Saxon Futhark. It is? How can you tell? Because that looks like the Isa and the Uruz you see everywhere. That looks like Elgies. I mean, I suppose maybe because it's all the way up on top like that. But I didn't know that was an Anglo-Saxon specific thing. I'm an Elder Futhark guy as a personal trade. Hey, what's up, Destruction Art Studios? Okay, so loading Stedha work. This is designed to bring the runer into a relaxed and balanced state, fully loaded with potential expressions of rune might. The sequence is used by German. I'm sorry, I read that. Went all the way back. It's because you got me thrown off about the runes. Anyway, you may repeat the sequence several times. From the Stedha next to the throw re, 1 breath. Okay, hold on. Performing the Stedha normally, 1 Stedha per breath cycle is executed. However, you may also experiment with moving quickly but smoothly from 1 Stedha to the next through the row of 3 on 1 breath cycle. The aim of the working is to feel the influx of rune might, which comes from a centered, stable ego being, Ek, and I, drawing from below telluric forces to strengthen the will, Uruz, and the drawing from above an archetypal force of divine consciousness along the Bifrost Bridge. So they're calling that the Bifrost Bridge there, which that almost would suggest that it's Haglaz. Anyway. All right, so now move on to the expanded U work. Now, if that is the idea of the Bifrost Bridge consciousness expanding principle, that's kind of interesting as the Algi's rune. that can make a lot of sense to me in a certain respect. Let's find out if he says and backs up what Destruction thinks, that it's from Anglo-Saxon Futhark. Now move on to the expanded U-Work. U-Work 3. This initial exercise will last 120 days in order to intensify the power of the U-Column, or Irminsul. You know what? I will say Irminsul. Irminsul is, it always, I still have to stop and think, and then still get it wrong, right? It's one of those things with me. It's a pretty Irminsul. Like going Ermin, like unless you're saying Herman, it's going Ermin. Or Irmin. Irminsul, starting with the like that. With having a short vowel U followed by R to be it kind of makes it hard to say, right? It really asks for you to tense up over here, like in the larynx, right? Okay, you are now to add definite runic significance to the vertical columns of light, which connect the 5 spheres of the internal U. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And this one is patterned out with Ansus on top. Looks like Manaz making the connection. Ehwaj in the node under that. Then Raido connecting Othal. Then Laguz connecting it to Isa. And then Nothes connecting it to Ur. So that's interesting, right? Emerolinu. That says that actually spells Emerolinu. Emero, A-M-E-R-O-L, Emerolinu, L-I-N-U. Interesting. The runic U column. Okay. Now, for example, instead of moving from the A sphere to the I sphere, as in program 1, attention should be more directly focused on the column rising through the legs towards the genitals in the I shape. In this column, intone the N sound of the rune name Nothes. It will give a spinning sensation in that region of the body, especially in the knees, as if the kneed fire were being kindled on the top of the U-sphere by a boring action of the column of light. When the M column is called upon, you should feel a gentle tugging sensation through your head, as if something were being pulled into your being from the outside and above your whole cranium, in a sort of funnel shape. Once the 2 upper and lower dyads, A, M, and E, and U, N, and I, have been established, there will be a qualitative difference in the activation of the I and the R columns, and the O sphere with the I column. I column, right? Unless that's supposed to be an L, like he's using a lowercase L, because there isn't an I column. There's an I sphere, but there's an L column that looks kind of like an I. So it's a little bit confusing, but we'll figure it out. Visualize a seething morass of unformed life energy in the region of your belly while intoning the I sound. Now, quickly, in conjunction with the visualize in the heart region, a descended conical spiral of fiery energy, while intoning the R sound. These two forces meet at a point in a clap of thunder and a flash of lightning and sparks. Lightning and sparks fly. And so this is an interpretation of what the energy should feel like it is doing in motion, right? The meeting of the upper and lower columns. From the meeting point, the O sphere arises and expands. At this point, the O sound is then intoned to activate fully the O sphere in its balanced dynamic state. As you see in this working process, the runer recreates a process similar but not identical to the cosmogonic myth in his being daily. This pattern of energy alternating between poles rather than a straight line of manifestation is a unique and powerful feature of the magical Germanic worldview. Therefore, you should work this pattern at least through the time of this door. In the future, the runer will be more free to experiment with linear patterns. However, you are encouraged to alternate regularly between the two sequences of development 1 and 2, as indicated in Figure 4.1. It has been found that some runers respond better when beginning with A, Asgard, while others do better beginning with U, Hel. So it's using U for Hel, which is interesting. In fact, these are simultaneous or synchronic as your levels of visualization and concentration rise. You'll even be able to call upon both poles at the same time and recreate the process more precisely, although vocal performance will be limited. All right, so advanced breath work. The runer will want to continue using the very basic forms of runic breathing given in the last door throughout this or her work at various times. The discipline of rune signing, or Galdr, imposes its own form of breath training as well. But there is a form of breath work which treats breath, or air wind, as a source of both source of power in its own right. In our tradition, it is called ond, and in Old Norse, or aethum in Old English. Nowadays, we can call it atham. The root of the word atham is related to the Sanskrit atman, breath and soul, which eventually becomes a word for self. In the Indo-European system, from which the Germanic and Indic systems were both derived, we know that breath was considered a source of spiritual power, and that this was a special aspect of the tripartite gift of Wothanas, Vilhjon, and Vihas. In the Old Norse tradition, the ond is the particular gift of Odin himself, Voluspa 18. Atham, or ond, is the source of the pure, undifferentiated energy, which is regularly circulated in the human being through breathing. this ond would also be I would even go as to say it is ong, O-N-G. Oh, because the ung, putting the ung into it, is putting it into the ingvaj. It's putting it into the generative principle aspect. So you're going from O So you're going from sanctuary to generation. It's kind of like a seed germination theory. So that's ong, right? As opposed to om, right? Right? Perhaps it has something to do with, see, to do ong, the lips stay open. And you press the tongue in a certain manner to the roof, kind of like the back of your mouth. At least that's how I'm doing it. But to do you're sewing your mouth shut. To make the M, the only way to do the sound is to close the portal. But ong, in fact, I can't even say ong with my mouth closed. The mouth has to be open to ong. Okay, so there you go. Advanced breathing techniques. The runer will want to continue using the very basic form of runic breathing given in the last door throughout this or her work at various times. The discipline of rune singing, or galdr, imposes its own form of breath training as well. But there is a form of breath work which treats breath or air, wind, as a source of power in its own right. In our tradition, it is called ond in Old Norse, or aethum in Old English. Oh, I forgot that Dear God, I'm in such a zone. Okay. The control of this process, therefore, would be analogous to the controlling energy supply within the psychosomatic complex. Of course, our Indian brothers have developed this aspect to a science, a discipline called pranayama. Perhaps the best general treatment of this practice is provided by Andre van Lisbeth, Pranayama, the Yoga of Breathing, London, Unwin, 1979. This book has the advantage of having been written by a Westerner, while at the same time being quite traditional in its approach. Other books on pranayama could also be used to get the details of this practice, but in all cases, two things must be kept in mind. These seemingly Eastern practices have an ultimately Indo-European origin and actually represent sophisticated developments of basic magico-shamanistic techniques. And two, you may feel free to runicize the various symbol systems used in these practices. Now, notice how he said shamanistic techniques, right? Which he uses that word for what purpose? For just basically saying this is magic that you may notice resembles how shamans do magic, right? He doesn't even he doesn't even say shamanic. He puts an ist and then an ick on it. He makes it an istic. It's not even a shamanic. It's not shamanist. It's not shamanic. It's shamanistic. It's a double. It's got a double uh, um, uh, epa thingy. I don't know. I forget what you call it. I don't care. I don't care right now. It's too much nonsense to not. I don't want to think about it. Anyway, I've pointed it out. I don't need to give you the word. An opportunity to provide an example of how to do this is given on page 127 of the Van Lisbeth book. There we read of the practice of the Samavritri Pranayama or Pranayama square. This could be converted to a runic formula thusly. So you've got these ahms in this outer square for retention, and then exaltation, retention, and inhalation, right? So, yeah, this is square breathing. This method allows the runer to count 6 seconds or beats of the heart, one for each uttering of the syllable am, and thereby ensuring a regular rhythm without counting by means of profane numbers. Well then, it should be noted that the syllable am relates to the region of the head, being the sound of the transpersonal intelligence ansus, combined with the manifestation of that intelligence in manas. Interesting. I almost want to say that I would do that the other way around. I feel like manas, because that's your mind, is the one that's actually more transpersonal if we're going to not call Ansu's manifestation. When I do readings, Ansu's is always about the thought that pops up, right? Manas is about the state of your mind in general, as opposed to the thoughts that pop up. Also, with regard to this formula, it is very much akin to the Indian formula Om. See Mircea Eliad's book Yoga for some no-nonsense views on the sacred syllable. For us, it represents the minimal expression of the full range of vowel sounds. Probably by no nonsense, he means not New Age. Bet you $1,000,000 that's what he means. We get it. An extended version of the formula would be an awoyam or aom. Aom or something like that. I get it. It's the way you're fluctuating all these vowels strung together, and then the M at the sense makes sense because you're going open and closing for breathing, so that M gets you to the point of here's where you hold breath, so on and so forth. These phonically represent the sense of entirety and projection of magical essence and power from the depths of being, symbolized by the back of the throat into outer manifestation, the closed lips. Galder 2. After having practiced each of the 24 runes, see, each of the 24, right? No other runes were mentioned up until no hintings for what runes we're talking about have been mentioned until this point. And as far as I know, the Elder Futhark is the only set of Norse runes that is in a set of 24. Okay. The rune names in the more complete Gald are given in Futhorc or on the tape Rune Song. Over the 240 days of this door, you should practice as follows. Intone the name of the rune 9 times, slowly. Then, combine each sound with the 5 main vowel sounds. So, fehu would sound like this. Fehu, fehu, fehu. Hold on a second. And then down here you got fa, fu, fe, fi, fo. So you're kind of getting into that fi, fi, fo, fum territory right there. And I don't even want to make a joke about that. In this system of notation, the slashes represent breaths. Remember to practice breath control here as in all other types of work. One secret to effectiveness in such work is the concentration of attention in the various wheels within the body. See the U work as the corresponding vowel sound is intoned. This is true for rune names. The abstract vocalic formula or any other vocal work. 10 days should be spent on each stave. Once the general principles of this kind of work have been grasped, the runer will begin to want to shape Galdr to his or her own special end. Through a combination of symbolically significant consonantal and vocalic runic sounds, the runer will be able to speak the language of the gods. The principles taught here are also to be taken into account when reciting, poetic, skaldic words in a working setting. Great power will flow forth from one who speaks skaldic tongue with full might and mind. In the following doors, various Galdr practices and workings will be suggested, but the mainstays should always be clear. Yeah, hooked on phonics, basically. Signing and sending to. Now that the general technique of signing and sending runes has been established, it is time to use this technique in a more operative way. The runer should now employ the full technique of signing the runes and holy signs in the performance of a sphere working, such as that described in Futhark 91-3, and under the hammer rite for the runer. A special runic form of this working should be employed. The hail working, this is the best done just following the U working. The ultimate aim of this combination of workings is the construction of an operative sphere, fully arrayed with the runes in the objectified walls of the sphere and fully alive in the subject tree of Yggdrasil within the sphere. This includes the U column down the vertical center of the runer. The building of this operative body is one of the greatest runes of the guild. Internal side of this body has already begun to be substantially built up in your U work. Now we want to build a stronger sphere surface. This can be done by means of the hail work. Remember, the sphere wall is not an iron plate to protect you from anything, but rather a willfully imposed borderland between the objective and subjective worlds, and a means of filtering and selecting influences, both incoming and outgoing. It is a sort of semi-permeable membrane. The hail work. Give me 1 second. Stay at work. Thinking. All right. sometime in about the next 10 minutes, I'm going to want to bring us into a break. Face the North Star. Beginning with Fehu in the north, sign and send the rune of the Futhark in a ring around you at the level of the solar plexus at about 4 to 5 feet out in front of you. Here, turn with the sun in a clockwise direction, signing and sending each of the rune stave, signing and sending each of the rune staves, tracing them about a foot in length in red light, while intoning their names until all 24 have been completed, and the ring is closed in the north with Othala next to Fehu. Stand in the cross steva and visualize an equilateral cross lying horizontally in the plane of the rune ring and your solar plexus, with that point as the center of the cross. The arms of the cross should end at the points where they intersect the rune bands. Imagine a surrounding band of shimmering blue light with the red rune band as its equator. Then visualize the vertical axis coming through your length from the infinite space above and from the infinite space below. Feel and see the force flowing into your center from all 6 directions in beams of blue light. Sign and send a shining blue Hagalaz rune, either in the elder or younger Futhark forms, to a place just on the inside wall of the sphere, superimposed over the Fehu rune, about 2 feet in length. Intone the words Hagala, we Hel Agas, O Hail, make sacrosanct. Turning widdershins counterclockwise, repeat this formula in the west, south, and east. Interesting. So yeah, if you are doing this as a kind of a cleansing ritual, right? Because he talks about clockwise over here, and then you're doing counterclockwise over here, right? So with Hagalaz involved with this counterclockwise, I'd say as a cleansing ritual, it's appropriate to use counterclockwise, because you are undoing something that happened to you. Becoming unclean is not your natural state. So you go through a cleansing, which is to undo, so you go counterclockwise to restore yourself to a pure state. Get it? Okay. Returning to the north, direct your attention to the floor of the sphere and repeat the Hagel formula, and then do the dame overhead. As you sign the Hagel's rune below and above, visualize their arms extended in such a way as to make contact with the ones on the plane from an external webwork of blue beams over the surface of the sphere. In the cross steva again, intone Hagala with Hegales, intone Hagala we Helagas. Strongly visualize the full array of the red runes and the webwork of the blue Hagala's rune. Let me try that again. That was actually kind of fun to say. Hagala we Helegas. Hagala we Helegas. Very cool. Okay, I like that. That slides off the tongue real nice. The hail work forms a potent working atmosphere, especially when combined with the U work. But as far as the particular techniques of signing and sending is concerned, it also gives an added dimension. Once you are able to establish this complex body of light firmly, and you wish to sign and send, let us say the might of Kenaz to increase creative power, then you would simply turn to that rune stave in the rune ring and sign and send in a steady stream of force, the rune through that portion of the rune ring. To aid in such an operative working, you could set up a symbol of the person or thing to the affected at a position just outside the sphere at the point of the relevant rune stave so that the force flow would be seen to come from your center through the rune to the object of the working for subjective workings. That is, working on change within the self. The runer can draw power through one rune or a combination of runes in conjunction with ond work, breathing exercises. Okay, we're going to take a pause right there. Let me get a good look. Page 68. All right, so then there's this, 69, 70. Then there's all that. Tables. Is this all on the fourth door? Jeez. This can't be all the fourth doors. It's got to be into the fifth door now, right? No, that's all. Jeez. All right. We're going to take a break, and we're going to see how quickly I can get through all of this. Let me talk at you for a second while I grab another song. Let's see here. I'm gonna go with Tyr this time. I'm gonna go with Tyr. Let's see. What do we want? Give me. I need a couple of minutes. Let's see. Do I want to do this one? All right. I think. Oh, hold on a second. I didn't do this right. Get slightly better results if I specify that I'm not looking for the god. I wasn't sure if I wanted to wear my regular Tyr t-shirt, which has nothing to do with the band. But I said, nah, that'd be weird. They definitely played Hold the Heathen Hammer High, but that's just like, come on, man, I'm not gonna play that again. It's just like I've played that one a lot too. Let's see. All right. We're gonna do Gates of Hell. Bear with. Yeah. The Hell album was a good album. All right. Here we go. I'll be back. we go. F and A. All right. Yep. All right. Good. Good. Let's see how we do here. Let's see how we do. There's so much in this damn chapter. You saw me scrolling for a hot minute. We'll see how I feel about... I may have to take, like... I might take, like, another break, like, halfway. Like, I don't know. I'll go about half an hour, maybe. Because I wasn't sure. Like, I'm going to do another hour. I'm just saying that instead of going an hour, I might go half an hour, play another song. I might just do it like that. What's up, Telonius? Stay the work 4. Here, the runer should simply continue with the stay the working of the staves Uwaj through Othal, as outlined in Futhark and the discussed in the previous door. Spend 18 days on each stave and end the series as you began with 24 days of the Issa rune. This makes a total of 240 days for the door. Now, the practice of the Stother will be taking on added power as you increase the potency of the working atmosphere within your personal ring. It will be learned how the Stother are truly activation of the space within the sphere in conjunction with the U column and branches, and the rune ring. The secrets of the methods by which stay the work actually has its effect are now being shown to you by experience, not by dogma. Okay, I need to take just a couple of seconds because I don't want to have to wait forever for food or cheapen things in the microwave. So I'm going to shoot something in the oven that I started warming up when the song started. Hold on. Hang tight. Hang tight! Okay, we're back. All right, did I lose you all in the 3 seconds because nobody has an attention span longer than 3 seconds? Eventually, a human being won't even be able to take a pregnant pause without losing 50 fucking subs. You'll just have to micro machine man it the whole way. Rune Thinking 4. Now that the rune staves have been loaded with their seed principles, it is time to expand them fully and in traditional manner by contemplation of the ancient rune poem stanzas in conjunction with the stave shape and other attributes. As a schedule, you will spend 4 days apiece on the 28 stanzas of the Old English rune poem, 4 days apiece on the 16 stanzas of the Old Norwegian rune rhyme, and 4 days apiece of the 16 stanzas of the Old Icelandic rune poem. This makes a total of 240 days of poetic contemplation. The method is as follows. Call up the hidden meaning of the rune stave through a 9-fold calling of its name. Once the feel of the rune has been established, recite silently or aloud from the heart the relevant rune poem stanzas. Now dwell upon the complex meaning and allow your thoughts to roam freely. Seek out hidden links, first within the stanza, then within the whole of the rune poem in question, then within the whole of the runic tradition of tradition or system. This includes the sounds, shapes, order, names, meanings, and any other associations. At the conclusion of each of these sessions, write down your results. Also, do not be surprised if at various times during the day, further realizations based on your contemplations are found. Be prepared to record these as well. One note on the Old English system is in order. Because of the extension of the Anglo-Frisian system from 24 to 28 and eventually to 33, runes, there will be some staves in the Old English rune poem Contemplation, which you have perhaps not considered previously. Here, the book Rune Games by Mary Jane Osborne and Stella Longland will be a great use. A main task of the runer will be to see how certain aspects of the esoteric lore of the Elder Futhark were extracted by early Ingvaeonic rune masters. Ingvaeonic rune masters? I want to meet these guys. I need to play better. And apply to the expansion of the runic system. See if there is anything genuinely new or different in these extra runes to be conveyed to the specifically Anglo-Frisian mind. The result of these intuitions would be most welcome themes of reports to the guild. Also, you are encouraged to continue with the type of very basic runic meditation suggested in Door 3. Toffer 1. So Toffer, I have no idea what this term means. This is new territory for me. You're having a juicy fillet while I am reciting runic magic to you? That sounds kind of epic. All right, cool. Make sure you have bestowed your gratitude upon the slain for the need of its flesh. Basic practical work concerning the planning and construction of runic talismans or runetines is covered in Futhark 98 through 124. The practice of Toffer is the best documented form of ancient rune Galdr. This is because we have, in the form of runic inscriptions, the outermost form of Toffer, and because it is the type of rune Galdr most often mentioned and explained in the Old Norse literary sources. In its simplest form, Toffer consists of threefold process of risting, reddening, and rauning. This is the carving, coloring, and charging the formula. Extremely simple forms of Toffer will only be effective when performed by fairly advanced runers. Most will want to make use of various ritual formulas to help in the overall process of concentrating and directing the will to do the work. The most usual form of Toffer magic does not involve the invocation of any magical agent outside the runer. The point of Toffer is to influence the objective or subjective world directly by means of the will, and to shape a creature out of your own essence to carry out this will. Even though a fairly complete outline of Toffer is given in Futhark, the material given here will teach certain secrets beyond those discussed there, as an excuse in basic Toffer, which will also be of direct benefit. Direct benefit to the work of this door. The runer should set about shaping runetines for the work of rune casting. Plan to shape one runetine per day. This could be made part of your regular sessions, or you could make this the subject of special workings. The form of the tines could be traditional staves, twigs, or elongated strips of wood about 6 inches long and 1/4 to 1/2 inch across. It's either an inch or a foot, but it's all a scaling problem, isn't it? Or flat, card-like slips of wood, about 1/2 to 1 inch wide and 1 to 2 inches long, something like that. Anyway, so you get it. These are ratios anyway. That's all that really matters, is you're working with ratios and things that can fit in your magical space and serve in its form in your magical space. Either form or other forms, as discussed in At the Well of Weird, 67 through 70, may be used in any kind of rune casting or rune laying operation. You may select any kind of wood for these workings, but oak, ash or yew, or any fruit-bearing tree or bush, that is, those with edible berries or nuts, would be preferred. The actual construction working is simple. In the right operative atmosphere, if you are not doing this as a part of your regular session, you will want to build the ghostly hall of the rune ring and sphere around yourself. Take the raw tine and put it towards all 8 horns of heaven. That is, point in all 8 compass directions. Now, facing north, sit down and carve the rune into the stave, continuously singing the rune name or the more expanded Galdr. Concentrate all that you know of the rune into your work. Feel and see the meaning flow from your body into the rune shape. Now color the rune with your red pigment or with blood, while concentrating in a similar manner once you have finished doing all 24 tines. Store the rune tines in a special location, for example, wrapped in a black cloth in a box. These tines will be of use to you in operative as well as illuminative works. Toffer work. The ritual instructions given in Futhark represent the most complete and elaborate type of Toffer ritual practiced by the guild. As experience is gained, the runer will learn to do with less and less ceremonial as he or she learns to impress the will more and more directly into the objective or subjective universal web works. Quite ironically, one of the secret ways in which the guild practices Toffer is to state explicitly yet poetically the aims of the working in natural language. This great secret is ironic because this is precisely the form most often used by the elder generation of runers, and therefore should be obvious to the modern generation, yet often is not. To formulate and execute Toffer of this kind, the runer must be familiar with a vast body of lore. This lore comes from essentially 2 sources, the mythology and the language to be used. The former may not be useful in all workings, but the latter is always essential. Now your work in Skuldcraft is to begin. To be able to formulate effective formular, one must have a basic word hoard made up of Germanic roots, words that in modern English, words of Germanic origin, and a way of putting them together that is magically effective, that is poetic. The greatest exemplary guide in this pursuit is Lee Hollander, translation of the Poetic Edda. You may make your poetic forms as elaborate as your abilities allow, but you should always remember that the poetics, like the use of, I think that's of supposed to be backwards there, numerical symbolism, is usually an intensifier of the message and not the message itself. The form of the message makes it more effective, but it is the substance of the will carried by the forms that actually does the work. In other words, never compromise the substance of the outer form. Right, because, like, poetry, you know, you're trying to speak a deeper truth through these words on a beat, if you will. And it's interesting how you tell the story in a way where the words flow, right? Like, I would struggle as a songwriter, and I know when I have sat there, finally written something down, and said, God, that's actually really fucking cringy. And why is it cringy? Because then when I try to apply it to whatever riff I've banged out, it sounds like I'm trying to, I don't know, mansplain it or something. It's like I'm like talking too much. It's like I'm trying to Lord of Rings the thing in like one song and using all the words instead of just a few of the right words, right? It's just better for me. I like to play my guitar. I like my guitar. Because my guitar doesn't have to say anything with intelligible language. In order to establish a basic vocabulary from which to work, you should sit down with a good dictionary, one with etymologies, and make lists of all words of Germanic origin, especially Old English and Anglo-Saxon. Yeah, this is why I'm always whipping out the Joseph T. Shipley Anglo-Saxon Indo-Europe in whatever. It's the Indo-European etymological dictionary, right? It's this thick beast, and it goes through every little syllable. Sorry, hold on. I'm going to start from the middle of this paragraph because I think I'm a little lost. You may make your poetic form an elaborate as your abilities allow. Okay, let me go down to the bottom here then. Get a dictionary, good dictionary. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm back on track. Good dictionary with the etymologies and make a list of all the words of Germanic origin, especially Old English, Anglo-Saxon, Old Norse, but also words of Celtic origin which seem compatible could be added. Such lists should be arranged acrophonically, that is according to initial sound and in the Futhark order, after you have gone through the dictionary. By the way, the Oxford English Dictionary is ideal for this. You will have what amounts to a rhyming dictionary for alliterative modern Germanic poetry. Now, how should such a list be used in formulating effective verse? The simplest guidelines are as follows. The basic formal aspects of Germanic verse is alliteration or stave rhyme, and the half line, you should aim to have 3 stave rhymes per whole line. That is, 2 half lines put together. Try to keep the syllable count. We'll have some illustration coming up here. Oh my gosh, I am sorry. There we go. Celebrated from one another by intervening words, otherwise it starts to sound like Peter Piper picked. In the rules of alliteration, all vowels alliterate will each other. Okay? Another great guiding principle is economy. Never use more words than you really need to state your magical message. In other words, you have to speak very primordially, very archaically, right? You know, the etymology, this is top-notch knowledge right here, right? This guy is really telling you a thing or two from a place of proper knowledge and wisdom, you know? So these basic guidelines are really all the runer needs to begin to compose effective skaldcraft. An example of such a formula for the gaining and keeping of monetary wealth could be a fee I found and held it fast. And so this looks like a fe I found. Okay, all right, this is the English. Okay, so literally, so a fee then he does the 2 dots right there. So he just wants Fehu, then I. Okay, then I found and held it fast. Got it. Okay. A flea I found and held it fast. Written in the Norse Futhark, right? A flea I found and held it fast. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, I get it. All right, so note 4 syllables of each half line. 3 stave rhymes on Fehu. An underlying rune might be being channeled. Rune count equals 21, which and equals, looks like Lagus, quite compatible with the aim of the working. Okay. So, sorry, I was looking back up at the thing. The aim of the working. Okay. Also note that the verb tenses are in the past. This is symbolic of the action having taken place in reality and to be a part of the objective universe already. Rune casting 2. Rune casting is, of course, fully covered in At the Well of Weird. That text should be used as a sort of basic textbook for what will be said here. Now is the time to wake up the study of rune casting in an in-depth way. The ritual of rune casting. In the process of learning the feel of interpreting runes in given rune casting systems, the runer will often want to make hypothetical castings that is one that may or may not be highly significant. However, when a serious inquiry is to be made, it should not be taken lightly. One must ask the runes all right before they can be truly tried and trusted. To roan, ride, write, read. In order to ensure the proper framework for such a casting, a traditional ritual setting must be established. This signals the runic realm within the self that a full and whole link is made between the objective and subjective worlds. Now the rune read will be more effective and trustworthy. In the ritual below, we have basically given 2 forms. A for the casting method and B for the layout method of actually establishing runic data. Experiment with both forms. The work of rune casting. All right, so now we're going straight to divination. Raise the rune hall or runic sphere about yourself. Still facing north, lay before you in the center of the rung the white cloth. You know what? Let's come back to this. I said I might be interested in doing at 30 minutes another break, and I think it is healthy that I do so. So, let me find a song real quick, because I made... Oh, wow, this stuff is all running in the background on mute. Great. Okay, so let's see here. Alright, so let me grab something from a different album now. Alright, we'll grab Sure, we'll try this song. I'm not sure what it sounds like. I don't know if they played it last night. This song is called Cycle.
Sometimes when I take a step back and look at my life, it seems like a cycle, repeating itself over and over, with loss and stress and hunger and hopelessness, all building up to a brief moment of triumph that seems to grow briefer with every repetition. And then after that moment fades away, I realize I haven't undergone any great transformation. I'm left hopeless and disappointed in myself for failing to live up to my own expectations, which is where the cycle repeats. Does it just go on forever? The light has gone, and I can't move on. When I look inside, I know I have myself to blame. I see the hurt in their eyes, all the same.
So yeah, that song's a little bit on the ballady side. They do stuff like that, which is neat. I like the dynamic melodies going on there. Some of their stuff sounds a lot like Winter Sun or Ensiferum, right? They got that kind of vibe to them. Which, like, when I met the two of these guys, I mentioned that what I thought they sounded like as bands I was familiar with. I told them about this other fucking righteous band. You guys should check it, called Solstice Rider. I forget where they're from, but they're Americans. But they have that Finnish melodic death metal sound. But they're Americans, right? They're called Solstice Rider. Anyway. Let's get back at it. And also, I got to shout out my buddies. You got to watch, you should listen to Winter Nights from New York and Solemn Vision from New York. All right? Those are the guys that opened up for Tyr and Aether Realm, and I've known those guys for a long time. They're doing real well. They're fucking crushing it. Anyway. The work of rune casting. 1. Raise the rune hall. Runic sphere about yourself. 2. Still facing north, lay before you in the center of the rung the white cloth, at least 3 by 3 in size, with the words, "World all wide. I shall read the rune aright." This establishes the objective field into which the rune will be cast and read or projected and analyzed. In the Eðas Stæða, and with your eyes uplifted, if performed out of doors, gaze upon the northern star, call upon the threefold Nornic force with the words, "Wend forth out the wide worlds. Ye maidens almighty, out the eastern darkness enter. Ötherveðondi skuld. Within you I strew the staves, or within you I lay the lots." That's good stuff. I like the way that sounds. That works. Yeah. This is how you're kind of operating with that, like, Old English or classical English kind of way of going about it, right? Like, I haven't quite fully mastered just throwing Galder out there just like that, but I have done it from time to time, and it's got an effect. It's got an effect. It's a subtle effect depending on how the person registers it. Anyway. Runes round right read. Rune rether retrad. This establishes a link between the precise form of your question and the gathered processes and gnomic forces. 5. Either A. Cast the staves out before you in a random manner. Do not take your eyes away from their northerly gaze. Or B. Sit down before the cloth and randomly choose the right number of staves from the bundle in your hands and lay them out in the predetermined pattern. See below. In either case, again, sing the Nornic names Erther, Verdondi, Skuld, as you cast or lay out the runes. With your eyes closed or still focused upward and northward, kneel down and feel your way across the cloth with your hands and pick up the right number of staves at random. Pass each one into your right hand one at a time and place each in its proper stead for interpretation. Once the choosing is complete, gaze down upon the runes and read them aright. Now you have the proper lay out before you. Gaze upon the runes and read them ultimately. Ultimately, in both forms, you will be facing with similar runic data as described. Below, you may take as long to interpret these data as necessary. After interpreting and reading the runes, make a record of the layout in a notebook prepared for this purpose. Significant readings will... I think that's supposed to be the word most. I think it's like just a... I'm going to say most. Or no, many. Many significant readings will not be realized until perhaps later, in a flash of insight or perhaps during later workings. So it is important to keep records of all castings. Now, silently and solemnly return the staves to their place of storage in their box or cloth bag, and perform the customary closing working. You may now wish to elaborate on your record of the casting, write a detailed interpretation, etc., objectifying the reading. In this way is most valuable. It prevents the tendency for rune readings to shift about in the subjective universe and become distorted. You may alter your reading later based on new insights or increased knowledge, but at least have a definite reading to work off of. Right after the conclusion of especially important castings, the runer will want to take hail signs on Hede omens. This particular feature of Germanic divination is discussed at length below. The practice of rune reading. There are a great number of methods of rune casting or rune laying, all of which basically work on the juxtaposition of the runes, with more or less stable meanings, with predetermined steads, with various significances. The reading is a synthesis from the elements among the runes, the steads, and the mind of the runer. Excuse me. Rune meanings. The meanings of each rune stave could be intuited from information given in already published works, but for specific divinatory purposes, the following tables are offered to the runer. All runers should keep a notebook in which definite expansions on these meanings, which have been intuited by the runer, are recorded so that they can be employed in future castings. Here, the positive readings of the runes are followed by negative manifestations of the same mystery. Runic tables. Okay. Thehu, new beginnings, social success, foresight, energy, travel, money, control, or greed, failure, atrophy, poverty, and discord. Uruz, strength, constancy, vitality, tenacity, pattern, luck, health, knowledge. I don't know about knowledge. Kenaz is really knowledge, to me. Right? Well, we'll take a look over there because I'm seeing... We'll take a look. Anyway, so knowledge and understanding to me doesn't make sense. Or weakness, obsession, misdirection, force, inconsistency, sickness, and ignorance. So once again, these little mind things, that doesn't make sense to me because I know these things from other places, right? And then when I do that, like those of you who see me do my readings on Greyhorn Pagans, how hardcore do I fucking nail it and solve your problem? Really fucking hardcore now, don't I? I got no idea. It's just me and the Norns. Tharisaz. Reactive force, directed force, vital eroticism, regenerative catalyst or danger, defenselessness, compulsion, betrayal, dullness. Right. There's also there's its relationship to evil spirits too, right? Thyrses. They're called Thyrses. They, that sounds more like Thordisaz than other things. These creatures, right? These dark spirits. And so that's an aspect of that rune in Merkstave. So anyway, Ansus, divine inspiration, word power, synthesis, transformation, intellect, misunderstanding, diffusion, manipulation by others, and boredom. Oh, and I was going to say, Threesos is also boundaries and protection. Odds are they put boundaries and protection up on algaes, which is still true, but it's much more psychic, much more spiritual. Anyway, Raido, rationality, good advice, action, justice, ordered growth, journey, or it's a crisis, rigidity, stasis, injustice, irrationality. Raido is the energy of ritual itself and things, right? It's about travel, right? It's about being carried in travel, right? Traveling on a horse. It's traveling on a horse just because it means something as a means of conveyance is moving something forward, right? Your magic ritual carries your will, right? Your will is like a little soldier, and this is your soldier's horse, right? So you do the magical ritual that's saddling the horse, and then your will is off on the horse of magic that you just cast. Kenaz, artistic or technical ability, craft, transformation, offspring. Okay, yeah, I get that. Disease, decay, breakup, inability, lack of creativity. All right, that's right about in the pocket. Yeah. Gabo, generosity, gift, magical exchange, honor, sacrifice, division, divine vision, or influence, buying, greed, loneliness, dependence, over sacrifice. Wonyo, joy, harmony, fellowship, prosperity, or stultification, sorrow, strife, alienation. Stultification? Where did this word come? I want to look up this word, stultification. That seems almost like almost like snobby big word. Like he wrote that word down. He said like, they'll know what it means, right? The act of stultifying, the state of process of making stultified. Stultify. To have dullness. Hold on a second. To have a dulling or inhibiting effect. To impair, invalidate, or make ineffective. To cause to appear to be stupid, foolish, absurd, or absurdly illogical. Okay, I get it. All right, that's Merriam-Webster. Okay, so where was I? Here. Yeah. Hoggles. Change according to ideals, controlled crisis, change according to ideals, controlled crisis, completion, inner harmony, catastrophe, crisis, stagnation, loss of power, loss of property. This one didn't really have a, quote, orness to it. Nothies, resistance, leading to strength, recognition of Orlog, innovation, need, fire, self-reliance, or constraint of freedom, distress, toil, drudgery, laxity. Nothies reversed is a little kind of tricky to, like, I don't do Nothies reversed, right? Like, it's too subtle. And in the, and Nothies already has a reversed image in younger Futhark, right? But, yeah, according to context, depending on how you're doing things with a reading, that might be giving you the lowdown on it, right? So anyway, Isa, concentrated, self, ego consciousness, self-control, unity of being, or egomania, dullness, blindness, and dissipation. Is that... What is that? That is that supposed to be... Okay, that's Yera. That's Yera. Reward for positive action and plenty, peace, proper timing, or repetition, bad timing, poverty, conflict. Uwaj. I'm not going to sit here and make every little comment on every single one of these. But if you know my readings, you'll see that, like, this is close to my interpretation of the runes, right? A few things I think are just, they seem misplaced, but I can always up my game, which is why we do things like this. We refine the craft. We don't keep everything in its primordial. We just remember the primordial roots that have been good and served. Uwaj is enlightenment, endurance, initiation, protection, or confusion, destruction, dissatisfaction, and weakness. Perthro, good omen, knowledge of Orlog, fellowship, and joy, evolutionary change, or addiction, stagnation, loneliness, malaise. Algies, connection with the gods, awakening higher life, protection, or hidden danger, consumption by divine forces, loss of divine link. Saul, guidance, hope, success, goals, honor, or false goals, bad advice, false success, gullibility, loss of goals. Tihwaj, troth, faith or loyalty, justice, rationality, self-sacrifice, analysis, victory or mental paralysis, over-analysis, over-sacrifice, injustice, imbalance. One moment, I must attend that oven. Okay. Berkana, birth, becoming, life changes, shelter, liberation or blurring of consciousnesses, deceit, sterility, and stagnation. Ehwaj, harmony, teamwork, trust, marriage, loyalty, or duplication, disharmony, mistrust, and betrayal. Manas, divine structure, intelligence, awareness, social order, divine influence in life, or depression, mortality, blindness, self-delusion. Oh, excuse me. Lagos, life, passing a test, sea of vitality and of the unconscious growth or fear, circular motion, avoidance, withering. Ingvaj, resting, gestation, internal growth, or impotence, scattering movement without change. Degas, awakening, awareness, hope, happiness, the ideal or lack of vision, sleep blindness, and hopelessness. Othal, a home, group prosperity, group order, freedom, productive interaction, or lack of customary order, totalitarianism, slavery, poverty, homelessness. Casting methods. Hold on a second. 2. Right, still lots of this. Okay, before we go into casting methods, we're going to take another break, and then this, I think, will be the last break. So I'm just going to keep things the way I've been doing it, and I'm going to go back to tier. So we did 2 Aether Realm songs, and now I'm going to do my second tier song. Let's do... I'm going to try Sunset Shore.
Hey.
Hang on. Here we go. right. There we go. All right, let's run through some more stuff, and hopefully my food doesn't get cold. I kind of kept it on the heater thing. Casting methods. Let's jump this back in over here. There we go, guys. Thank you so much. Casting methods. Regardless of whether a casting or layout method is used, see above in Ritual, the final matrix of meaning steads many times have common significances. The most basic form of the stead meaning is based on the special Germanic threefold division of time and related to the function of the three great norns. The basic significances of the three norns steads are Edred, that which has become the past, that which exists in the objective universe, not subject to change and at the root of the situation in question. Verdandi, that which is becoming, the present, that which is fluctuating, which is existing in the eternal now of the subjective world, not only subject to change, but the stuff of change itself, the narrow trunk of the present aspect of the situation in question. En skuld, that which ought to, that is should, become, given the function of Edred and Vedani, the future, that which yet is not, which may be, the branches, or one of them, of the situation in question. For the most profound study of the Nornic process yet ventured, see Paul C. Bachat's The Well and the Tree, Amherst University of Massachusetts Press, 1982. As many runers already know, the theory of time posited by the Uther Verdandi Skuld model, or process, is not the linear one of past, present, and future, but rather one of dynamic opposition between the vast field of significant, real, past action, Uther, an ever-present point of real existence, the synthesis of which will result in predictable channels. The vast field of pastness and the ever-present nowness are the only two realities. Skuld is a state of potentialities. The most of time accounts for many things in the traditional Germanic ideology. This includes, for example, the importance of the past and an emphasis on present action as far as rune casting is concerned. A thorough, intuitive understanding of these concepts will be indispensable in making meaningful readings, and the use of this pattern will be seen as the mainstay of most casting methods. This, along with the eightfold division of the heavens, is the best indicator of the relative values of the divinatory steads of ancient rune casting. That's his casing, probably meant casting methods. The threefold method. Follow any one of these ritual methods and choose 3 staves, one at a time, and lay them out in 3 steads in this order. Erther, Verdandi, and then Skuld in the bottom. So obviously I don't do it that way. Normally I do it in the kind of linear unfoldment. Only because it still works in a past, present, future kind of linearity, because it's about causality. Causality means an order of things that happened. There was a predicate to make present because you're just trying to figure out about what's next. It's very simple. In reading this configuration, first turn your attention to Edred in its own right. What does it signify in relation to the question? Then turn your thoughts to Verdandi in a similar fashion. Now relate the Edred and Verdandi steads and see how the Skuld stead represents a coming together of the first two, with an analytical inquiries that is those in which the rune caster wishes to illuminate his or her present situation or state of being, and steads 1 and 2 are of primary importance. They reveal the present and its true background, while 3 will indicate the direction things are about to go. On the other hand, in efforts to predict how things are going to be, and from the Germanic point of view of time and causality, we can see this could be difficult. The Skuld stead is primary. Skuld delivers the oracular force, while steads 1 and 2 show the foundations of the tendency. At the same time, in predictive work, steads 1 and 2 show us the areas that might need magical alteration in order to avoid harmful potentialities. The Valknutter, a 9-fold method. All right. An expansion of the 3-fold method is to be found in the Valknutter layout. Again, a method of casting can be used, which is then completed by picking up and laying out 9 staves in the following stead and order. So yeah, this works. You've got the pull down here, but the fact that, you've got 1, 2, 3, right? This is just doing a, so it's the expansion of the 3-fold, like they say, right? Which, let me see how they talk about this one, because this may be indeed a little bit different, right? I mean, because when you do it like this, now there's a new kind of, because you've got the 369 in the center, right? So that's actually kind of cool. That would make sense to me anyway, right? Okay, so we got the 369 in the center. But though that is a column of shoulds, and they're in the center, right? But at the same, it does make, okay, yeah. So this kind of gives us the 369 is always the answer kind of thing, right? What do you got to do? You look to the 369, the runes that are in the 3, 6, and the 9 positions. That makes sense to me, right? So let's hear this thing out. Anyway, the Valknutter layout, again, a method of casting used to complete by picking up and laying out 9 staves in the following stead. All right, steads 1 through 3, a detailed picture of the full process of their aspects. 4 through 6 do the same for the Verdandi aspects, and while 7 through 9, process of Skuld, as it is yet to unfold. Okay, so how does that, what does each of these for each Norn? So it's 3 for each Norn. But I would need to get more depth. What are these 3 aspects for each of them? What are the qualities? Right? Because the 3-fold process is so fundamental to the Germanic craft of rune casting, the runer should become the master of these 2 techniques before venturing seriously into other methods. The guild is highly interested in reports of trends in castings or the general record of diligent rune casters. There is a certain statistical and empirical aspect to the continued redevelopment of true rune casting. So, you could possibly say that's the deeper past. You could possibly say then that 4, 5, 6 is kind of about the the details of the present. There's not just the present situation, but the details of the present. Some sort of contextual details. Then it's a question of how you're stacking the meaning of what's on the left and what's on the right. You know? Because you're maybe not necessarily needing to say that everything happening on the left is the past and everything happening on the right is the present. So, so taking of hail signs. For especially important divinatory operations, we know that in elder times, the Teutonic peoples were not satisfied with just one method or just one message. What they wanted was corroborating evidence for the validity of the original operation. They did this by taking omens of hail signs, and this can be undertaken today by learning the language of the birds. In elder times and in our Germanic homeland, this could be taught with some consistent lore. But today, in our dispersed condition, we must make do with new methods. The tool needed to begin to learn the language of the birds is an outdoor, sacred enclosure of some size, divided into the Erts of heaven. This is an area in the wide open spaces which you mark off in your imagination or in actuality. It can be of any size, but about 10 yards by 10 yards would be about the minimum. You should mark off the edge of 8 divisions of the compass. You will face north at the southern edge of your enclosure and wait for the birds to speak. They will speak in 2 different ways, one with their calls and 2 by the direction of their flights. In ancient times, definite birds had definite meanings in different localities. All that can be given here are general pragmatic guidelines which can be put into practical use at once by the runer. Conduct such workings either between 9 in the morning Conduct such workings either between 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, or between those same hours at night. This avoids the natural activities of birds at dawn and dusk and will make significant flight or calling more obvious. Limit sitting to a definite time. This should be for no more than an hour, but no less than 5 minutes. You will need to have prepared an idea of what types of birds you are likely to see or hear in your geographical area in general. You may classify them according to their nobility or closeness to the gods and goddesses. Signs given by rarer birds are worth more. That is, they are more trustworthy than those given by more common birds. All right, so before I start reading the working part, we're nearly done. Good. I'm going to get this out of the goddamn way and get my food before it gets cold. I had a few bites during the break, and then I had to rush down here. Sit at the southern border of your enclosure, or vey, and observe the flight of the birds through the defined space and listen to the direction from which the calls of birds come. A bird flying in a certain direction is the equivalent of a call coming from that direction. The values of the Erts are as follows. North for Niflheim, southwest for Helheim, east for Jotunheim, northwest Lostafheim, Muspelheim in the south, northeast for Asgard, west for Vanaheim, southeast Svartalfheim. All right, and then you see all this here on screen, right? We all know this. We all know this very well from knowing my stuff, what each state of these realms corresponds. There's positive and negative affirmations here, apparently. So, Niflheimer, Hel, Jotunheimer, and Muspelheimer are negative affirmations. And so it seems like that's kind of going along the lines of the heavens and the hells. Like, what realms typically have helpful spirits and what realms have harmful spirits? That's basically the way one can sum that shit up. In general, the use of directions to affirm or deny the validity of a reading may be overridden in certain circumstances. The underlying idea of this system is that the birds will give information of a specific character, which the runer says that a rune reading told you in answer to the specific question: should I move from my parents' home? No, stay in your present home. For example, you could have a reading with Berkana or Othala in the Skulstead. Then you got, in northeast, Hell. Indications from the birds. This could be taken as an affirmation sign, since they would be positively affirming the reading. Stasis. Stay where you are. Wouldn't Nothies be something for... No, Issa would be stasis. Stay where you are. But anyway, it should be clear to runers that this form of divination by birds could be redeveloped into a complete primary form of divination, but at this stage, a good deal more work must be undertaken before this could happen. Again, runers are encouraged to explore and report on their findings. So, this is a holy stead for listening to the language of the birds, is on figure 4-4, and that's it. Okay, good. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I haven't heard from any of you in a hot minute. This is your chance to say goodnight and such. I am just sitting here looking for... There we go. Just getting the stream detail situation looked at. And... Hold on. Right. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much. Have a great night.